Good evening. It's the 2nd of June, and today in Istanbul, diplomacy and devastation collided in the shadow of war. Talks between Ukraine and Russia took place in the Cherhan Palace, a place once inhabited by sultans, then burnt down, then rebuilt, today hosting adversaries whose visions of peace are mutually incomparable. The meeting lasted barely over an hour, no handshakes, no interpreters, no breakthroughs. But nor was it a complete diplomatic failure. There was not theatre, though there was some of that. It was rather a grim ledger-balancing exercise in humanitarian gestures, even as drones and missiles withdrew or redrew the boundaries of warfare through the skies of Russia and Ukraine. Ukrainian Defense Minister Rustem Umerov, reading aloud from a hastily unfolded statement, confirmed what had been agreed, a fresh prisoner exchange focusing on the severely wounded and soldiers under 25. 6,000 fallen soldiers, 6,000 dead on each side, are to be returned to their nations, their identities only partially confirmed, their lives reduced to diplomatic tokens. Ukrainian negotiators also handed over a list of 339 abducted children by name and non-negotiable demand. Russia's response was both callous and revealing. Medinsky, Moscow's lead negotiator, reportedly accused Ukraine of provoking grannies around the world. This is what passes for diplomacy under Putin's regime, a sneer rather than a solution. Despite this, both parties agreed to meet again. There is at least a consensus that talking is preferable to silence, even if the words exchanged are hollow. I agree. Moscow's proposals, delivered in so-called memorandum, are as maximalist as ever. Ukraine must withdraw from Zaporizhia, Kherson, Donetsk and Luhansk, territories Russia does not fully control, but legally in Russian law has now said that it owns. Kyiv must abandon its NATO aspirations, accept demilitarization, enshrine Russian as an official language, and drop all claims for reparations. This is not a peace proposal, it's an ultimatum dressed in diplomatic clothing. Ukraine, quite rightly, regards it all as unacceptable. President Zelensky insists that only a direct meeting with Putin can break this impasse, though few believe such a meeting would yield more than symbolic posturing. While the delegates sat round a table in Istanbul, Ukraine had already spoken in another, far more resonant language, precision, aerial sabotage. Operation Spiderweb, 18 months in planning, saw waves of Ukrainian drones launched from within Russia, hidden in trucks and aimed at strategic air bases. The result? At least 12 Russian strategic bombers destroyed and perhaps another 24 damaged, up to 34% of Russia's long-range cruise missile fleet disabled in one night. These are not Hollywood drones. These are modified quadcopters flown using Russia's own mobile network that slipped through the cracks of Russia's bloated but brittle defenses. And these people who were driving the trucks apparently didn't know what was in them. The roofs opened up and these drones came out. All remote controlled. The military impact is profound. Russia will now struggle to maintain the frequency of its missile attacks. The psychological effect may be even more damaging. Ukraine has now destroyed a third of the Black Sea fleet and now a third of the Russian Air Force. Russia's invincibility narrative has suffered another devastating rupture. And that's the message to the Russian people. Russia, true to form, responded not with strategy but with spite. In Kharkiv and Sumy, civilians paid the price for Putin's embarrassment. Apartment blocks, not airfields, were the targets. Russia cannot match Ukraine's tactical ingenuity, so it reverts to the tactics of terror, terrorizing the civilian population. This, tragically, is a pattern. Ukraine strikes military hardware, the Moskva, the Sevastopol docks, the Siberian airfields, and Russia retaliates against civilians, playgrounds, power plants, hospitals. Each Ukrainian act of precision is answered by indiscriminate violence from the Kremlin. Yet the narrative is shifting. Zelensky now speaks with renewed confidence. Europe has better weapons, he says. Our tactical solutions are superior. In war, morale matters. And Ukraine, exhausted though it is not yet broken. What comes next? Turkey's President Erdogan has proposed a summit, perhaps even inviting Donald Trump, who remains curiously disengaged despite his bluster. Erdogan's dream of brokering peace is ambitious, but at least he's acting. So is the Pope. Ukraine has proposed a third round of talks before the end of June. Both sides will study the other's proposals, but the gap between them remains vast, measured not in paragraphs but in principles. Still, today's meeting was not a waste, it was incremental. War may begin with gunfire, but it ends, if it ends at all, with paperwork and compromise. So, this was not a breakthrough, but nor was it a failure. The dead will be buried, the young may be saved, the children may yet come home, and above all, a new kind of warfare has been unveiled, light, mobile, patient, and devastating. History will record that while diplomats murmured in a Turkish palace, Ukraine struck fear into the heart of a superpower.